We're about to test out one of these here Amazon fluid transfer pumps. I'm gonna get this out and show y'all what it looks like. All right, there she is. So this is one of them. If you search on Amazon, like fluid transfer pump or oil transfer pump, this is what'll pop up, or one of them that'll pop up. I changed my transmission fluid recently, and I'll link the description to that if you want to watch that. And I also pumped some of it out, because I didn't do a full flush. I pumped some of it out with one of the hand pumps, but it took a while because you're sitting there pumping over and over. So that's why I bought this. It's battery powered. Now they have several different ones on there. I think this one was like $25-ish. They had some for around 20, 17, 20, 22, whatever, but they were more kind of like what's pictured here. They didn't have the handle. They were just just rounded over. The reason I got this one is because of the handle. I mean, sure, you could pick it up like that, but I just, I thought the handle was better. So anyway, it's only a couple dollars more. It comes with some gloves here if you use those, and your two different, I guess, 1/4 inch, I think those are, and then 2 of these for the drain. This is going to be the pump side, and this is going to be, or the inlet side, this is going to be the exit side. Paperwork comes with it, really ain't much enough. It just tells you not to pump gear oil because it's too thick for the motor, not to pump flammable chemicals in case of explosion, and such as like gas and that kind of stuff, because you don't want to catch fire, blow up. And also it says don't do water because it doesn't lubricate the pump. If you pump whatever you pump with, it says oil. I'm not going to use the pump oil. You just drain the oil and replace the filter. What I'm using it for is the transmission fluid. So like in the previous video, I just dropped the pan, filled it up, and drove it, so it was mixed with the other half of that nasty fluid in there, and then I hand pumped 4 quarts of that out, and it pumped it out, and it's still pretty dirty again, because mixed in with the rest of that was in the transmission, or the radiator and the pump, or the torque converter, I mean. So I'm gonna do it one more time, and instead of pumping forever, we're gonna try this electric one out. It comes with a screwdriver. It comes with a fitting, I guess, so you can extend these and make these longer for the drain part. And then these hose clamps too. These have little rubber caps, and you can see here, I don't know if you can see, it's got arrows. So this is going to be the inlet, and this is going to be the outlet. You can see there. So let me kind of hook this up. But this one, from where it's sitting on my air box, will reach in there, and I can just drain it right in there without lengthening it. Where the problem comes in is this one, which I'm glad they come with 1/4 inch for this, because on these older trucks you can use a bigger diameter, but on this one I noticed 1/4 inch, you had to use 1/4 inch to go there, because the dipstick tube is smaller when you go down in there. You can see there it bottlenecks. But the problem here is this is exactly the length of the dipstick, so it needs to be longer. They give you 2 of these, which is great, but if they'd make them about a foot longer or so you could leave it sitting there, hook it up, and still reach the bottom into the pan, that would work, but it didn't. So what we're about to have to do, I don't know, let me see what I got from when I pumped it with a hand pump before. Let me see what I used for an adapter. I think I used something similar to this to fit over that and make it like an adapter. So what I did, rather than try to get some different hose pieces to adapt, I just went and bought these like hose adapters here. It's 3/16. I thought it was 1/4 inch. Turns out it's 3/16, which should be a little slower pumping. 1/4 inch will fit in there. That's what I used on my hand pump, but this will fit in there. It'll just be a little slower. Well, it'll still be faster than the hand pump because it's continuously pumping, but either way. So I put that on there. It's a tight fit, and it really probably don't need a clamp. So, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw some tape over it just to help hold it, because it's gonna have to go down just inside of this dipstick tube, and I don't want to not be able to get it out, so we're just going to tape that on. All right, we got our jug here, and 4 quarts is up to this last quart line because it holds 5. And I only bought 4 quarts because last time it did 4 1/4 before it started just pulling up air. So we're only gonna do 4 quarts and see how this goes. Put my hose down in here. All right, so I'm gonna hook it up and cut it on, and I'm also gonna time, you know, see how many minutes it takes to do 4 quarts. Got her hooked up there. Let's turn her on, see how she does. This little switch on the back you see right there. And I didn't put a clamp on. I put a clamp on this side. This side, I put it up on there. It's a real snug fit, so we'll leave it like that. If it starts leaking, I'll put a clamp on it. Well, that ain't good. There we go. And there she goes. Take a second to prime it up. You got air bubbles here, of course, because this is a larger diameter than what that is. As long as you don't have air bubbles right here, you're good, because once you start getting air bubbles here, then it's sucking air and it's done. About 132 when I first started. And one thing I'll mention, this fluid's pretty clean already after that first pump. You can see it's still got a little bit of tint to it, but we'll check it out here in just a minute. That fluid's pretty clean. All right, took right at 6 minutes to pump, and that's just a hair over 4 quarts there. And it did good, man. That was a lot faster than doing it by hand. So what we're about to do is we're about to pull my 4 quarts in the tube with the funnel, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this here pump. It really didn't need pumping again, but I just wanted to really just to test, well, 2 things: test this pump, 1, and 2, to see how dirty it still was, because last time it was still pretty dirty. So now that I've done that, I wouldn't recommend, you know, doing it after the first time. So really all you gotta do is pan drop, put 6 quarts in, run it a little bit, pump 4 quarts out of it, put 4, you know, fresh quarts in, and that's it. All right, guys, I got her filled back up, got my dipstick back in there. I'm gonna give my final verdict here. I would say this gets, out of 5 stars, I give it 4.5. And the reason I say, only reason I say 4.5 is because of the hose issue here, having to extend it. And then when I first cut it on, like, it didn't work. I guess maybe it was a bad connection, because I bumped it a little bit and then it come on. So that might have been, like I said, just a bad connection. I cut it off, cut it right back on, it fired right back up. It's fine. But mainly just the hose deal here. I had to go buy the adapter pack for this. So that's why I give 4.5 out of 5. I mean, for a cheap Amazon pump, that was 23-ish, some dollars, plus like 7 for this, unless you had some laying around. It did what it's supposed to do. I wish I had it the first time, because it was a lot faster. 6 minutes, I think I said. Way faster than it was doing it by hand, even with a smaller diameter tube. It works great for what it is, man. I can't complain. This should last me a long time, even though it's, you know, cheaper product. But I'm really critical of products. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm real peculiar about stuff, so if it's junk, I'll tell you. But if it's good for the money, I'll be honest with you. And for what it is, I really like it. So another good use for this would be for putting fluid. I'm using it to pull fluid out, but putting fluid in, say you got a vehicle that doesn't, a lot of them now don't have dipstick tubes, and you have to get under there and take a plug out of the side of the transmission to put fluid in. It's kind of a pain. So this would work great for that. And a transfer case, if you have 4-wheel drive, putting fluid in there in your transfer case would work good too. And I'm going to be using it for that next time I change that fluid also. So for $23, you can't beat that with a stick. That'll wrap this up. Anyway, so now I'll quit rambling on, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.